Hi everyone, in this lecture we are going to go over the HTML and the CSS for this project. Alright, so this project is not a small project, it is a medium-sized project, so there is a lot going on. But as far as HTML and CSS are concerned, they're pretty basic. They're very important, but they're, as usual, as always, they're simple. So we have here a container that is grabbing everything and housing it. First off, we have our start button that is an h1 and is inside a div which has a class of start. Then we have our quiz, and then we have the score container, right? So inside the quiz, we have our question. This is where the question will be displayed inside our application, and you can see that it is empty because the question is going to be loaded dynamically. All right. Then we have our answer choices, which are 4. You could increase or decrease the answer choices. You could decrease them to 2, but I've because I wanted this to be an MCQs like quiz kind of thing, or a multiple choice question kind of quiz. That's why I went with 4 questions. They are inside a choices container. Then we have our answer timer, which has a div with a class of timer. We have our counter. This is the number. This is the number that you see, like 1, 2, 3, whatever. And then we have our time gauge background. Now, whenever we start, so let's go ahead and let's open this up with live server. Okay, so whenever we click, of course, this is not functional, so nothing works now. But whenever we start, we can see there is a background color, and then another color seems to be filling that background color. So the background color belongs to time-gauge-bg. And then we have another class, which is time gauge, which is the color that is filling that gray color. This is the purple color, this is the gray color. We have our progress, which are the 10 boxes that we have at the bottom. So these 10 boxes shows the progress to the user. As many questions as you're going to have, those many boxes you're going to need, right? So and then we have our score container. The score container is something that will be shown at the end of the quiz. For example, if I just randomly answer these things, at the end, this is our score container. That is going to give the user a sense of like achievement, like how many questions I've answered, how much percentage, or how much, or how many. I think it's how much. Like what is the percentage? It's not even how much. It is just what is. What is the percentage of the correctly answered questions? It's going to be 30. You can choose to add like more than 10 questions, which I'm going to show you how and where. But I think as far as HTML is concerned, you don't need to do anything. And now let's come into CSS, some basic styling for the some basic reset. Let's remove this. I was experimenting with something. We have background repeat, size, and position, but we don't have any background image because the background image is going to come from our JavaScript. We have some basic height and display flex because we want to center everything. This is the entire container of our quiz. Then we have our h1, the quiz itself. Then we have the quiz, and we have selected all the children, all the direct children of the quiz, and we have applied display flex. And if I come here, we can see that the first child is this div with a class of question. The second child of this quiz is choices. The third one is timer. The fourth one is progress. And instead of going into each one of these and applying display flex separately, I've just set it once and it works for all of those. We have our question. This is the styling for the question that we can see. For example, if I reload this, now the styling, the font size, the background color, the padding, the letter spacing, everything comes from here. And then we had different backgrounds for different sections because I was again experimenting for that, but I do not want to remove them, because whenever I created this grid, we do have a grid here. I was just experimenting with that. Where are the different sections inside the quiz? Because quiz is the grid container. Inside that we have question, choices, timer, and progress, and I gave them different background colors to like distinguish where they are. So this is how the CSS is actually created for this application. That's why I did not remove it. So we have our choices. This is the choices container, and then we have each individual choice with some basic stuff in there. We have our timer and the counter inside the timer. Then we have our gauge BG and gauge itself, which we have set position absolute. The gauge BG has this light gray that we saw, and the gauge has that purple Hauser kind of color, purple color. All right, so we have our progress bar here as well, and this actually the progress bar is also created dynamically. So this progress bar, this is done through JavaScript. We are going to create this. This is very cool. We're going to create it through JavaScript. And let's come here. We have our score container finally, and we have the score h2 that says like the number of correctly answered questions and the percentage of correctly answered questions. Both of them are h2, which are created dynamically again. So there is one more thing that I have to mention here, and that is whenever we are working with this quiz, initially the score container is going to be hidden. The visibility is going to be hidden. I could go ahead and say display none, but then that display would like be in conflict with this display flex, and I wanted to do something different, so I just used the property visibility, and I have set it to hidden. And once more, coming up in marketing message, if you are like not sure what these properties they mean, this is not an HTML CSS course. I cannot dive deeper into them, but I do have 2 more courses on HTML and CSS. One is the Ultimate HTML5 and CSS3. Boy, that is a long name, bootcamp. And I talk a lot about all of these elements and properties of CSS in that course. And I have a specific course for Flex, Grid, and Sass. If you're interested, go ahead, grab those courses. They are here on Udemy, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy them. They are very, very, very extensive courses, and you're going to master HTML, CSS, right? So the next thing I told you I think I told you that there are 2 things. If I didn't, I'm telling you now that there are 2 things. The first thing was that the score container had a visibility of hidden. The second thing is the quiz has a visibility of hidden, and I just commented out. Let's see what is going to happen. So this is where the question comes. These are the answers. This is the gauge. The score container is created dynamically. That's why we cannot see it. The counter is created dynamically. That's why we cannot see it. So now if I were to comment in all these like different colors, let's comment these in, we will be able to see different sections of this quiz container. We can see, so why cannot we see it? This is light cyan. I think this is not visible. This is light salmon. And I think some of these are created dynamically as well. So this is shown, and this is shown as well here. This is light whatever that is, light cyan. Yeah, it is. Timer is light sky blue, which does not show here because it doesn't have any width and height. And we have our progress, which is not created because it is like a dynamic element. So let's put in 1, 2, 3 here, and if I save it and come here, so this is our timer as well. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Control Z a few times, and where are we? Yeah. All right, so this is going to be it for the HTML and CSS revision or review. In the next lecture, we are going to start working our way through JavaScript. See you guys then.